Good morning, Ben Woodward, everyone else. Here we are moving well into April, the second quarter of 2020, if you can believe that. And I hope everybody has 2020 vision because that's how you succeed, is having a clear vision. But Ben, what's on your mind right now?
Yeah, lots of things. Yeah, good morning, everyone. I was thinking this morning about the role of habits in our lives, especially under the circumstances that we find ourselves in. Many habits have needed to adjust or change. Some of those are practical habits, of course, but at the same time, in the world of entrepreneurship, much of our success is derived from the development of good personal habits, isn't it? And how did those types of habits, those ones specifically, get affected in a quarantined environment when we're working from home? Yes, we've talked plenty already, haven't we, about how we can reach out and connect with others, how we can use this extra time to build more authentic relationships by reconnecting with long lost friends and loved ones that we haven't spoken to in a while. And we're already seeing, Dave and I were chatting just before the call started about how volume was great in March and how it's already looking great in April. It was fantastic in February. But the business volume, the amount of results being generated is actually, we're seeing, is actually thriving as an overall collective whole, which is great. But we want to make sure that that continues on, don't we? Versus it being just a temporary adjustment or impact of what's going on. So how do we do that? Well, it comes down to our good habits. So I want us to, as a preface to this, I want you to think about specifically, are there some habits in your life right now that you'd like to eliminate or to change? Are there some things that you'd like to do differently in your business, but you're finding it difficult to do? If that's the case, if maybe you've tried, struggled, failed in adjusting some of these habits and getting in line with what you really feel is at the core of what you should be doing, I hope today we can address some of those issues. Changing our habits, James Clear, who wrote a book on atomic habits, great book, I'm going to be referring to that a little bit this morning, said the changing of habits is often hard for two reasons. First, we either try to change the wrong thing, or he said we try to change our habits in the wrong way. So let me say that again. We either try to change the wrong thing, which seems strange if we've already identified the habit that wants changing, correct? But it's not, and I'll explain why in just a second. Or we try to change it in the wrong way. I want you to imagine a bullseye. This is an audio recording, so I get that. So close your eyes, if you will, and imagine in your mind's eye a bullseye, a target with three layers. The outer layer is what's called outcomes. The middle layer is process, and the inner layer, the center, the bullseye, is identity. I'm going to explain what these three things mean and just a couple of things that we can do to address these. Outcomes are focused on what you get. Processes are about what you do, and identity is about what we believe. And the problem he identified, James Clear identifies, is the direction of change. We often start from the outside working in versus at the identity phase working out. So he said many people begin the process of changing their habits by focusing on what they want to achieve. This leads to an outcome-based habit. The alternative is to build identity-based habits. With this approach, we start by focusing on who we wish to become. I love that. As we look at building our businesses, what do you want to become? Don't focus paradoxically on what you want to achieve. Focus on what you want to become. And I think as we focus on that way and build that into our identity, then we can start to see some real positive change. So he says behind every system of action is a system of belief. What we do is the fruit or outcome of what we think, feel, and believe, isn't it? So if we start with beliefs focused on ourselves, then we can start to change our behaviors. So as we look at that, and here's one of the challenges, of course, If I've been in the business for a long time and I've tried and failed repeatedly to change my outcomes because I've been focusing on the wrong thing, then maybe that might have compromised my beliefs about myself, my sense of identity within the Nikken framework. So that means it could feel initially as a harder task to make the needed changes, because my identity might not line up with what I think it should be. But I want to remind you and reassure you that often part of the problem that we face is a misguided sense of personal identity. Who we are isn't always who we think we are. It's my conviction that who we are, more often than not, if not 95% of the time, is far greater, far more powerful, far more loving, far more capable, far more able than who we believe we are. So I want you to make note of what you would like to be. Who would you like to be? Write it down, get specific. What character would you like to possess? As you look around to those that inspire you and encourage you, that make you want to go, I'd like to be more like that. Make a note of their qualities, the character traits that you love and admire and respect in those people, and build up a profile that represents and includes some of these qualities. Now the goal, I love this, the goal in building this sense of character and this new sense of identity is not to win all the time. It's to win the majority of the time. I love that. It means we don't have to begin by being perfect in our aspirations. It means that we need to be committed to trying and give space for failure to exist in the journey of progress and discovery and becoming. This process of humans becoming more is just that, isn't it? It's a process of becoming. I know the phrase is humans being more, but we don't be more in a moment. We become more over time. It is a process, it's a journey. And that journey is one of self-discovery. It's one where we win in increments and that we also lose from time to time. But as we can recommit and pick ourselves up and keep trying, then we will grow and win some more until we eventually become the full measure of what we want to become. And the consequence of that is something magnificent, because it then gets reflected in our outcomes. It gets reflected in the way that we choose to behave. Because I think of myself differently, I'll start to act differently. If I think more like someone that is going to be courageous and brave, I'm going to start to act as someone that's more courageous and brave. I'll be willing to take more risks in that way. There's so much good that can come, isn't there, from thinking a little differently about ourselves. So the more evidence we give to a belief, the stronger that can become over time. So what's important here is in the process of identifying small wins, we give room for error to occur. That doesn't mean excuses. It means that we allow for our humanity to exist in the framework of progress and development, and that we accommodate for human error, for imperfection, for the need for growth to be present. But what's important is that we focus on the right things. And in focusing on the right things, we identify the small wins when they come so that we can witness for ourselves the evidence in our own lives that progress is being achieved. When we do that, we give greater confidence or develop greater confidence that we can keep going. So that's my invitation for everyone today, is to identify who you want to become, give room for error, be okay with that, look for small wins, be persistent over time, and give room for opportunity to see where that victory is being realized so that we can get better and better and better over time, because what we do will follow from those beliefs that we have about ourselves. So thank you very much, and I'll pass it back over to you, Dave.
Ben, that is some golden nuggets. Get the book, Atomic Habits. Everyone has habits, and I've heard it said that good habits are hard to make, but they're easy to live with, and bad habits, they just kind of fall into place. If you just kind of go along, and whatever happens, that will become a habit also. And bad habits are easy to make and hard to live with. I love your thoughts about humans being more. I guess we could say humans desiring to be more, humans becoming more, humans doing more. Doing more is a big thing. Doing, it's not what we say, but what we do. It's what is measured. And one of my favorite thoughts is just thinking all the time, what would be the most productive thing that I could be doing right now, and do it. Now, in the scope of NECAN, it's talking to people, having as many conversations as you can. And what if you woke up every morning and rather than thinking, oh, get up going, I know I should talk to people, and you're having to have that battle all the time. What if you just made the decision, I'm going to do this, by golly, I'm going to make it happen, and then make it a habit. And if you do something again and again, something powerful happens. It gets stronger because it becomes a habit, and doing something again becomes a habit, and soon it becomes who you are and your destiny, and you're the person that just gets up and doesn't have to have that battle back and forth. Am I going to call somebody? It's scary. You just think, that's me. I'm a conversation starter. I talk to people, and I'm going to talk to more people today. And you don't have to think. That's just like driving. If you do it over and over and over again, you don't have to think. Let's see. I put my foot here, and let's see. I push this button. You just get in and drive. You don't have to consciously think about every moment. And that's the power of habits. I've heard it said that it's a flywheel of life. It creates great momentum, and it makes our bodies, our time, our brain happen everything more efficiently, because we don't have to consciously think, well, okay, I'm walking, I'm going to put this foot forward, and the next foot. Same thing with the NECAN business. Get in good habits. So, wow, Ben, you got some good stuff there. Thank you.
Thank you, my pleasure. And let's all have a great week and use this extra time to devote internally to redefining who we want to become, and reach a little higher. Like I said, it's my strong conviction that all of us are far greater than what we believe we are. And that should be something that really encourages us to think a little bigger, because we are a little bigger. So yeah, let's do that this week.
The way to get better is to get better. So let's do it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ben.